This is a question for people to answer. Does anyone have any ideas? You can raise your hand. You can type it.
Is it that we witness, carry this word to all?
Yes, right? So we are the witnesses, right? But in what way do we witness? When we say we are witnessing, what have we witnessed? I mean, we just said that for the disciples, in order for them to carry this work, they had to have lived with Jesus, and they have seen him go in and out with him from the very beginnings, from the baptism of John up until the time when he was taken from them. And that was the criteria of the witness, right? Right? But we didn't live at the time of Jesus, and we didn't see all of that stuff happen, right? So how does that apply to us today? We witness God's presence in our lives, right? So I guess expand on that. When you say we witness God's presence, give me more, like expand on what you mean.
I think we are witnesses of the love of Christ in our lives, and we also not only demonstrate the life that he lived by living a life like his in our lives as well.
Yes, so one point is that we live a life like he lived, okay? Someone is saying we accept the gospel by faith. We have experienced God in our life. We witness God's presence, right? So the fundamental prerequisite for witnessing, for preaching, is that we ourselves have to have experienced, right? This is why if you tell someone who has really no connection with God, even though they're Orthodox and maybe even though they come to church and so on, but they really have not tasted the Lord very much in their life, then when you tell that person, go and witness, go evangelize, right? Maybe I have no motivation to do so. I have no desire to do so. I don't even know how to do it at all, nor is it something I'm interested in, right? Because it's difficult for us, if we do not taste the Lord, to go and to then spread this message, especially when there is hardship associated with spreading the message, okay? And that hardship, like when Christ was saying, like, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. Because what is the reason that the laborers are few? The laborers are few because it's hard to do this labor, right? This is a difficult labor, right? And there's obstacles and there's challenges and there's problems and there's awkward moments and there's even, we could be attacked, for instance, in some cases. We could be mocked, insulted. Even when Christ was telling when he was telling the 70 apostles, when he was sending them out to do this mission of evangelism, he said, if people reject you, just wipe the dust off your feet and go on to the next. Like, it was understood that rejection was a part of this ministry, right? In Arabic, the word witness is shahid, right? Shahid is also the word for martyr. So in Arabic, the word witness and the word martyr are the same word, right? Shahid. Why is that? Because what does martyrdom have to do with evangelism? Like, what do you think? Like, in what way do we have this concept of martyrdom and evangelism being tied together?
We would do anything for Christ, just as he died for us, we would the same.
Okay, we would do anything for Christ. We say we would do anything for Christ, and we say that with such conviction and faith, right? But is evangelism one of those things? Is evangelism one of those things that I will do anything for him? What if the evangelism requires me to be martyred, right? Actually, we see all the evangelists, all the gospel writers, well, except for St. John, they were martyred. All of the apostles, for the most part, were martyred. All those who had this mission of going to spread the gospel from the very early years of Christianity, they were evangelists and they were martyrs, right? And in the old days, being an evangelist kind of implied that you would be martyred because Christianity was hated, around the world. And so if you were to say, I am becoming a Christian, that was essentially the same thing as I'm willing to die. Nowadays, becoming Christian is such an easy thing for people to say. Oh, I converted to Christianity. I'm Christian. I now go to a different church or to a different building than I used to go before. I now read different books than I used to read before. I hang out with different people than I used to hang out with before. I believe different things than I used to believe before. Okay, great. Okay. But what if somebody said, for you to become a Christian, okay, not only are you going to change your beliefs and your thoughts and the places that you go and the people you spend time with, but you're actually offering your life itself to be given, to be taken, to be killed, right? If that's what our advertisement was for Christianity, if we, on the billboards that you see around the city, advertising different churches, we see billboards that are advertising like, nice and friendly, we're come to our home, our family, we offer these services, we're great, come and join us, and so on and so on. But what if somebody says, come so that you can die? Come to our church to declare your faith and your Christianity so that, or despite the fact that you are very likely to be killed for your faith. That's what it was like as a first century Christian. That's what being a first century Christian was about. So the idea of me to believe, and not only to believe secretly, not only to say, what, I believe, but I don't really share it. I don't talk about it because I know the consequences if I do talk about it. No, but to believe it and then to go and publicly declare it, to publicly speak about it, to speak about it with boldness like the apostles did, to go and to share it with everyone, even against all of the desire of all of the rulers and all the governors and all the countries and all the pagans and everything that they did. We see the example, for instance, of St. Paul, who was one of the greatest evangelists, who went and he established so many churches, the hardship that he experienced, right? So the idea that witnessing, the idea that evangelism entails hardship is implied in it. The idea that Christianity implies sacrifice, right? Not only personal sacrifice, because we in the church, we speak very much about personal sacrifice. We speak about fasting and how I give up the food that I want. We speak about praying and I give up the time in order to spend it with God. We speak about personal sacrifice a lot in our worship, okay? But when it comes to evangelism, evangelism is another type of personal sacrifice, okay? Maybe in the early days of Christianity, you might be sacrificing your life for doing it. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, maybe we're sacrificing our convenience, we're sacrificing our comfort, we're sacrificing our time, we're trying to push ourselves to do an activity that maybe doesn't come naturally to us and maybe makes us a little bit nervous and uncomfortable. But if you compare that to what the first century Christians had to endure in order to evangelize, they literally became martyrs. They literally became witnesses, right? They witnessed by their blood, right? They didn't just witness by their words. The greatest evangelism that they did in the early centuries of Christianity was the evangelism of martyrdom, because they believed so much in this that they were willing to die for it, which brought the attention of everybody. Everybody, look, who are these people? We're offering them treasures and gold, and we're offering them comforts and luxury, and they're saying, no, we don't want any of this. And despite all of the threats against us, we are willing to die for our faith. That captures everybody's attention. I mean, that's why you saw even rulers convert to Christianity who have been torturing Christians when they see the faith of the Christians in spite of that torture that they received from their hand. Okay, so it's important for us to understand this idea of witnessing in Christianity is that we experience the Lord the same way that the apostles experienced him, and that makes our faith very strong, because it's like we see him in front of us, we know him personally, we taste his goodness, we truly believe and are willing to sacrifice and even be martyred, both in the literal sense but also in the figurative sense, for him, so that when we go out and we teach and we preach and we evangelize, we do so with a sense of conviction that not only do I believe, but that I want everybody else to believe as well. I use kind of this analogy when I speak about this topic with different groups to try to help us understand the importance of evangelism, and kind of an analogy to help us understand like what it is. Okay, imagine that you are in a room, in this big room, and you find yourself in this room, and there's a lot of other people in the room, and there is a long line that leads to uh, like like a doorway. Okay, and there's a table on the in the room, and it has a stack of blue cards and a stack of red cards. Okay, and everyone in the room is instructed to go either take a blue card or a red card and to stand in the line. Okay, and you don't know what's happening. Nobody's explained anything of what's going on, and you don't know what the difference is between the blue card and the red card, and what does it mean. Okay, and so you pick a card. Say you pick the red card, and you're standing in line with everybody else, and some people have blue and some people have red. So you're very curious, and you're standing there in the line, and you're like, I don't want to just wait in this line to see what's going to happen. I'm going to go take a sneak peek up in the front and to kind of get a sense of what's happening. Okay, so you go up to the front without anybody noticing, and you peek and you see what's happening. Is there somebody at the door, and they see what kind of card you have, whether it's a blue card or a red card. If you have a blue card, they take the card from you and they send you to a place that's like a paradise, right? It has everything you could ever want in it. It's very beautiful and serene and wonderful. But if you have a red card, they take this card from you and they throw you into this burning pit. Okay, so you now have seen this, you understand this, and maybe you're the only one who was curious enough to go up to the front and figure out what's going on. And you look at the card you have in your hand, you realize I have a red card. Okay, so you know that if you continue up to the front of the line and you continue to have a red card, then you know what's going to happen to you. Okay, so probably the first thing that you're going to do is what? What's the first thing that you're going to do at this point? Somebody shout it out.
Grab the blue card.
You're going to grab the blue card. Of course, right? You're going to just quietly go over to the table. You're going to put your red card back, and then you're going to pick up a blue card, and then you're going to go stand in line, right? Is that what you're going to do?
Sure.
Is that the only thing you're going to do?
I would ask a question.
You would ask, what question would you ask?
Like, what am I really supposed to do here?
Well, yeah, maybe we have no idea why we're in this room. Okay. But what else would you think of that maybe we could do?
Tell other people.
Tell other people, right? Like if you get back in the line and the people around you have red cards, how are we going to feel that we are just walking in the line, going up to the front of the line? I have my blue card now. I feel safe and I feel good about myself because I know that when I get to the front, I know what's going to happen to me. But when we see those people around us that have red cards, like, how does that make us feel? Does it make us feel like we're just like, I have no responsibility? Like, yeah, you know, too bad for them. They have red cards. Or am I going to be like, hey, let me tell you what I found out about the red card. Okay. When you go to the front of the line, they're going to take the red card and they're going to throw you in a burning pit. Right. And then if those people are like, no, that can't be what's going to happen. Is it going to be so easy for us to just accept that answer and be like, okay, I told you? No, I mean, maybe we're going to try to convince them. Maybe we're going to try to do anything that we can to let the people that are around us know, even if they're complete strangers, right? Even if they're complete strangers, we're going to do everything that we can to convince them. Obviously, in the end, it's their choice and we can't force them to do something. But how much responsibility do we feel that we have toward them, that I feel like even if they get mad at me, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I have to talk to people that I don't know about uncomfortable subjects, that I'm going to feel compelled right? I feel compelled. Why? Because I have seen with my own eyes. I have seen with my own eyes. I know for certain, for a fact, what is going to happen at the front of the line, right? So it goes back to the idea of being a witness. A witness is someone who has seen something, right? If you go up to a witness who has witnessed something and you try to contradict what they say, you say, no, this isn't what happened. What is a witness going to say? A witness is going to defend what it is that they saw. I am going to defend it with, with passion, because I can't deny what I saw. It's what happened. It's the truth. So if we are truly witnesses, right? A witness is someone who has seen with their eyes, who knows what it is that is true, so much to where we feel compelled to tell the others and to defend our witness whenever it is attacked for the good of those people. Like, this is not a theoretical argument that we're making. We're not making a theoretical argument of let's compare this religion to that religion. Let's talk about this versus this. We are saying you are going to be thrown into a burning pit if you don't listen to what I have to say. So again, this is maybe some background for us to kind of be thinking about of what is our responsibility when it comes to witnessing. I have seen with my own eyes, as the people here have said, we witness God's presence in our lives. We accepted the gospel by faith. We have experienced God in our life. Having now experienced this, that we replaced the red card with the blue card, now it's my responsibility to go around to everybody who is around me that has still a red card and be like, you're going the wrong way. This is the wrong choice. You need to change your decision, right? Because I have seen what lies at the front of the line, and I'm telling you, you don't want to go up to the front of the line the way that you are now. You want to change before you go up to the front of the line. And so I like this analogy because it kind of captures the importance of evangelism in a very clear way. And so I find it very useful. The third question is, who does the church serve? Okay. If you ask this question, you might get a lot of different answers. But let me ask you guys, I don't know how much more time we have, but let me ask you guys, who does the church serve? Everyone. So who is everyone? Everyone where? Everyone in our zip code? In the world. Everyone in the world. The church serves everyone in the entire world. So, but if you look at the primary services that we offer, the primary things that we are concerned about and we think about in the church is what? Well, we have a lot of Sunday school kids, so we need to provide Sunday school. We have maybe elderly, we need to provide elderly services. We have deacons, we need to provide deacon services. We have, whatever group of people that I see in front of me in the church, the first thoughts that come to our mind is, I need to provide services for those people, which is great. We definitely need to do that, okay? But if you think of the idea that the church serves the entire world, then that means that the church serves people that do not go to church, okay? So you can go one step beyond then saying, well, beyond the active members, which is the first group, the people that are in the church are the active members. Beyond the active members, well, I say, okay, well, we also serve those people that maybe stop coming to church, right? The lost sheep, the people that used to attend the church, don't attend the church anymore for whatever reason. We are always said, what? Well, we need to call them. We need to ask about them. We need to visit them. We need to figure out why they left. We need to bring them back. We need to encourage them and support them. Yes. But those people are also people that used to be active members and that for one reason or the other, they became non-active, right? They left, right? That's another very important group of people the church needs to serve. But if we said the church needs to serve the entire world, right? That means that even the people that we have never seen and we don't know their names and we don't know where they live and we don't know anything about them or even where they exist or if they exist, those people are also the responsibility of the church. Those people are also the responsibility of the church. So it ties into this idea of our responsibility for witnessing, right? Because the church should be serving those people that we do not know, which means that we need to have evangelism on our mind. So whether that be evangelism on an individual level, right? Maybe on an individual level, each of us, when we go to work, when we go to school, when we go out to wherever it is that we go, right? In our mind and in our hearts is not a sense of, okay, I have an obligation to evangelize. That's not the aim. Now maybe that's how it'll start, but that's not the goal. The goal is not that I feel like I have an obligation. The goal is that I have love for people, right? And just as in the analogy with the red card and blue card, that even though you have no knowledge of or relationship with the people that are next to you in the line, that you will just naturally be like, hey, you need to get the blue card because the red card is bad. Okay. And that's what I did. And you need to do it too. Right. It's a simplistic analogy, right? But it carries over to the real world in the sense that now as we go about our lives, we should be finding people with the red card in our lives. Who are those people with the red card in our lives? Who are the people that we know that if they continue living the way that they are living all the way to the end of their life, we know that they will be a disaster. It will be a disaster for them. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to accept the message. That doesn't mean that they're going to so easily be like, oh, okay, you know what? I need to repent and change my life and do this and that. I'm not trying to make it so simple, like to make it unrealistic. What I am trying to say is that we have an obligation as Christians to make that effort. So there is the individual effort, right? That's on an individual level. And in a broader sense, what I refer to as active evangelism is the kind of evangelism where we are actively pursuing someone. We are going out into the community. We are actively preaching. One-on-one, I am talking to individuals that I know and I meet, and I try to bring them to the church. I try to invite them. I try to talk to them about Christ. I try to have them meet with other people from the church, even on a social setting, as a means of introducing them to the church community, which could eventually lead them to maybe attending a Bible study or something else, right? All of those are active things that I'm doing, okay? Another type of evangelism that I refer to as passive evangelism is a little different, okay? Passive evangelism is more of how do we become what we need to be in order to attract people. So I'm not necessarily talking to people. I'm not necessarily going out and actively pursuing a person, but I am changing who I am in order to make them more likely to come to the church, more likely to see God's love, and so on. So an example of passive evangelism would be the way that I conduct myself as an individual, that I do not curse, that I do not steal, that I sacrifice myself for the sake of others, that I'm always seeking to serve others, that I don't hide that I'm fasting, that I don't hide that I'm an Orthodox Christian, that I am who I am, and who I am is like Christ, right? When we become more Christ-like on an individual level, that's passive evangelism. There's also passive evangelism on a church level, right? Which is, okay, well, when somebody comes into the church, what are they going to see? Are we organized? Do we have people to greet them? Do those people feel comfortable when they come, or do we give them looks and maybe we're not comfortable with their presence and so on, right? All of that also is passive. Like we're waiting for them to come to us. How is our church structured? Is our church structured in a way where it's easy for somebody who comes from the outside to get engaged in it, to meet people in it, to follow the services, to be aware of what's going on, that we have catechism classes, that we do, like all those things are examples of passive evangelism, because we have structured ourselves in such a way that when somebody from the outside comes, they feel like they were expecting me, right? You know, when a person who we don't even know who they are, when we don't know their name, when we don't know anything about them, and then they come into the church, and because we as a church identify and understand and acknowledge that our job is to serve everyone in the world, right? That means that when one person from the world comes into the church, we are already set up to serve them. We are already set up for their needs, right? Because that's our understanding of what it means to serve the world, right? So when we say the church serves the world, we have to make sure we understand what that means. You know, we serve the world as individuals, that I am called to live a certain way. And we are called to serve the world as a church, right? We serve everybody. God made the ark, Noah's ark, to save the whole world, right? There was no one that was explicitly rejected. It was the people that rejected the ark. It was people that rejected salvation. It wasn't that God rejected them, right? If other people wanted to come into the ark and they believed and they would come, God would have accepted them in the ark, right? So it is our job to make the church, which is the ark of salvation, open and engaging as much as we can to the world. Okay, I think that's a good stopping point based on the time that we have. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything that you want to make?
I like the view of the ark being open to all. It's not like it was only a chosen few selected. Everyone was available to come in, but everybody didn't come.
Yeah.
I like the blue card, red card analogy. I usually have about the house on fire, but blue card, red card works too. Thanks.
Okay. Glory be to God forever. Amen.
Thank you so much, Father Matthias. We want to make sure that you know that you're always welcome to join us every day. We have a prayer meeting at 5 o'clock, and we would love to have you again, hopefully face to face, not just virtually. So we would love to see you more often in our church, God willing.
Thank you, Borna. It's my blessing. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a blessed evening. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.